Okay, this is module 5. This module is called proportions and percents. It's 3 lessons, 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3. In the first lesson, you're going to use percents to describe change. All right, so let's go to the 5.1 notes. Here they are right here. And this icon means there's a video, which you're watching now. All right, lesson 5.1, percent increase and percent decrease. The first section is called percent change. And percents can be used to describe how an amount changes. Okay, now there are lots of reasons why an amount would change. One amount, let's talk about the number of students in our class. We started out with 27. We lost 3 students for different reasons. They moved out of the area. So our class size went down to 24 students. 2 more students have joined our class. So now our class is back up to 26. So that is an example of an amount of students changing. It went down and then it went back up, right? So there was a decrease in the number of students when the students left and the number went down. Then there was an increase when we added a couple more students when people moved into our classroom, okay? So the change in an amount can be an increase, meaning the number can go up, or the change can be a decrease, meaning the number goes down. To calculate percent change, you use this equation. The percent change equals the amount of the change divided by the original amount. Okay, so we're going to use this equation to find some percent change. Okay, and then we're also going to write down the steps for how to do that. So the next section says to find percent change. This is if the change is an increase or if the change is a decrease. If the number goes up or the number goes down, you use the same method, okay? Here's an example. Amber, let's say she works at the record store. I guess there's no record stores anymore. Okay, let's say she works at the mall. She makes a certain amount of money per hour, right? She starts out at $8 per hour, and then she gets a raise, okay? She got a raise and her wage increases from $8 to start with, and then after her raise, she makes $9.50 per hour. What is the percent increase? All right, remember a percent is part. So some part of $8, she gets a raise, some percent of $8. So what is the percent? The first step is to find the amount of the change. So we find the amount of change first. How do we do that? We take the lesser value and subtract it from the greater value. So what does that mean? So she starts at $8, her wage increases to $9.50. So basically we're going to find what is the difference between $9.50 and $8. So we're going to take a bigger number, the $9.50, right? And we're going to subtract the $8. And we're going to get $1.50. So she got a $1.50 raise per hour. So that is called the amount of the change. The change is $1.50. So the change from getting $8 an hour to getting $9.50 an hour, the change is $1.50 per hour. Okay. Now we're going to divide the amount of change. That's the $1.50 by the original amount. So what was her pay to start with? That's what original means, the first one. So we're going to take the amount of change to the $1.50. So right, basically it's the amount of change which we just figured out equals $1.50, and we're going to divide it by the original amount. The original amount was $8. That's her, or that's what she was getting paid to start with. And we're going to divide that. Now remember, in this module, module 5, you can use your calculator. Okay, so get out your calculator on your computer and do the math. I'll get out my calculator, okay? I'm going to do $1.50 divided by $8. And I get 0.1875, okay? 0.1875. Okay, so 150 divided by 8 is 0.1875. The last step is to move the decimal 2 places to the right to write the number as a percent. That's the percent symbol. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move this decimal 2 places. It's going to be 18.75%. All right, so Amber got an 18.75% raise. All right, that means her raise, this $1.50, is 18.75% of her original pay. So percent is part. So basically we're asking what part of $8 is $1.50, right? $1.50 is part of $8. And what part is it? It's 18.75%. All right. Now, let's do another practice problem. Remember, we're going to describe the amount of change in percents. David moved from a house that is 89 blocks away from school to a house that is 51 blocks away from school. What is the percent decrease in the distance from his home to school? Now with Amber, her hourly pay increased, it went up. But for David, he now lives closer to school, so the change in the blocks decreased or went down. But you still do the problem the same way. Step number 1, we're going to find the amount of change. So you see right here, step number 1, find the amount of change. So we're going to take the bigger value, 89, and subtract 51. 89 minus 51 is 38. So the change is 38 blocks. That's the amount of change. So he started out having to walk 89 blocks. Now he only has to walk 51 blocks. And that's a difference of 38 blocks. Okay, so that's the amount of change. So now we're going to take the amount of change which is 38, and we're going to divide it by the original amount. This time the original amount equals 89. That's where he started. So I'm going to divide that, right? 38 divided by 89, and I get 0.42. So I'm going to just round that off, 0.427. Now, remember, I'm going to move the decimal over 2 places to the right, and I'm just going to round it. So it's going to be 42.7. We're going to round up to 43. Okay? And so that we're going to call that 43%. And remember, it's a decrease now. His number of blocks went down. So what is the percent decrease in the distance from his home to school? The decrease is 43%. All right? So step number 1, find the amount of change. How much did the actual number change? Then find out what the percentage is of that amount compared to the original amount. And you get a decimal, which you can convert into a percent. All right, we have one more page of notes, so keep going. On the next page, we're going to work with the same idea, only we're going to have different information given to us. All right. So this is the second page of notes using percent change, right? If you have an original amount, okay, if you have an original amount, so basically the number that you started with before the change, and you know the percent. On the last page, we had the amount of change. We knew the old amount and the new amount, and we were finding the percent. In this case, we have the old amount and we have the percent of change, and now we're going to use that to find the new amount. Okay? To find the new amount. All right, to find the new amount. The price tag on a shirt says $26.95. That's the old amount because Gino has a coupon for 25% off. So that's the percent change, right? So we have an original price. And then we have a coupon that has a percent to take off of the original price. What will the new price be? What will the sale price be with the coupon? So on the first page of notes, we had the old amount and the new amount, and we figured out what is the percent of change, percent increase or percent decrease. Now what we have is the old amount, and we have the percent. Now we're trying to find the new amount, okay? So to do that, we're going to find the amount of change. And the way we do it now is we're going to multiply the percent in the form of a decimal times the original price. Okay, let's do that. Step number one, we take the percent and we put it in the form of a decimal. So to do that, we're going to move the decimal over to the left 2 places. So 25% as a decimal is 0.25. We move the decimal over 2 places and put it in front of the 2. Okay. Now I'm going to take that percentage written as a decimal and I'm going to multiply it times the original amount, which is 26.95. What I'm figuring out here is what is 25% of 26.95, $26.95. Well, let's figure that out. 0.25 times 0.25 times 26.95. And I get 6.7. And this is, we're talking about money here. So I want dollars and cents. So I only want 2 places after the decimal. So I'm going to use this 7 to round this 3 to 4. Okay, $6.74. Okay, so I want my decimal only to be to this place value right here where this 3 is. But because this 7 is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I round up. If this place right here where the 7 is were 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, I would just drop those 2 and leave it at 3. But since it's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I drop it and round up. Okay? So this is how much we get to take off of the price of the shirt. Because remember, we have 25% off. And we just figured out what is 25% of $26.95. Well, 25% is $6.74. So that's what we're going to take off of the price of the shirt to find the new price. So find the new amount or the sale price by subtracting the amount of change, which was $6.74, from the original price. Okay, so I'm going to take $26.95, that's the original price, and I'm going to subtract $6.74. That's going to give me my new price. So $26.95 minus $6.74 gives me $20.21. So the new price of the shirt or the sale price after the coupon, is $20.21. Okay, we're going to practice that one more time, and instead of a decrease in price for a sale, it's going to be an increase. So there were 570 students at Lockburn in 2016. I just made these numbers. I don't know if that's actually true. There were 570 students at Lockburn in 2016. Over the next 5 years, there was a 9% increase in students. How many students are at Lockburn in 2021? So what we have is an old number. We have a percent increase, and now we want to know what the new number is. So the first thing we have to do is find out what is 9% of 570. So remember, 9% as a decimal, we move the decimal over 2 places. So it's going to be 9, it's going to be 0.09. Okay, 9%, we have to move the decimal 2 places, so we have to add a 0 in there. So I'm going to take the decimal form of 9%, and I'm going to multiply it times 570. So I take 0.09 times 570, and that's going to give me the amount of change. 0.09 times 570 equals 51.3. Okay. Well, you can't have 0.3 of a student. So we're going to round to 51. We're going to call that 51 students. And remember, it's an increase. So we're going to add. So we're going to take the original amount, 570 students, and we're going to add 51 students, and we're going to get, so 570 plus 51, and we have now 621 students in 2021. Okay, so again, we take the percent increase, change the percent to a decimal, multiply that times the original number. That gives us the amount of change. And since the change was an increase, we add the number to the original and we get the new number. All right. So what we're doing in lesson 5.1 is we are describing the change in an amount by using a percent. So if the amount changes by going up, or if the amount changes by going down, we are describing that change as a percent. All right, 5.1.